Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another one of my in your face truths. Here's what's got me set off. Okay, so socialism has become this real big ordeal, and it is not just something that's going on in Venezuela. It's not something that's going on in China. It's something that's happening right now in our front yard. And the thing that has got me sparked is Joe Rogan, man. Joe Rogan, what the fuck are you doing? I like him to watch. I think he's humorous. I think he's hilarious, and I enjoy watching him. Go up there and shoot the shit with really cool people like Mike Tyson. But man, he's up there right now spitting pure fucking statism poison on all of his viewers, man. You're leading everybody astray. But I'm not gonna like bark on you all night. If you want to know about it, it's episode 1245, 1245. It's Joe Rogan talking to Andrew Yang. Now Andrew Yang is going to be running for president in the next election, and he is part of the Socialist Party, huge into the Socialist Party. He's down Cortez, and there's the factors, right? There's the things you got to look at. You've got all these socialist things coming abroad, right? You've got Cortez, you have Bernie, now you have this guy Yang, and how are they fueling people to want to commit to it? AI, ladies and gentlemen, AI, artificial intelligence. The one thing that's going to push people into this socialist idealism is the fact that AI is going to take up a lot of jobs. And that's going to be scary to people, especially statists, because they're very materialistic. They're very, very afraid of losing their supposed house or their fancy car. Even more importantly than that is their position in life. All those things scares them into doing whatever the state wants. It's just like any other media outlet, usually a fear mongering technique. So if you watch this interview, you'll see this is just another example of it. So Yang is promoting it with Rogan, Joe Rogan, through AI. And it's a real thought if you think about it, right? So artificial intelligence can pretty much do anything, and it has, shut down a lot of manufacturing jobs for people. Pretty soon it'll be driving the trucks. So there's the truckers out of a job. They've already almost perfected self-driving cars. Think about it. It's not something that's unreal. It's not a conspiracy. They can do it, and you've got computers that can pretty much think up anything. You've got self-flying planes now, you know. Um, so think about that as we go along. So if you take AI and tell people that this is going to take everything from you, and inputting humanity is just going to be a thing of the past. Well, now you can bring on socialism, right? Now you can bring the idea of socialism to people. Okay, so people, AI is going to take up all your jobs. So we need to create a new form of state, a new form of government. Now, keep in mind, none of the laws are going to change. The state and the government, the banksters, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, they're all still in control of this. They're just creating a new form of rule over you, and they're doing it through fear again, right? Because you're afraid that you're going to lose all the jobs. So you need socialism so that everybody gets a fair share. Now, the statists are also going to cling to this idea because, damn it, I just lost a thought. Yeah, they're also going to cling to this idea because they they always wanted to, stop the corruption in government through the power of money. So they're also going to cling to this idea, right? They're going to cling to this idea because now they can take down, the corrupt people who use money to influence government. They're not going away. Okay, they're still going to be there. They're part of this, and this is going to protect them against the future of prosperity with AI included. Now they're going to go to it. This is the fear-mongering technique. This is what they do all the time. My opinion on the current situation and the change up in gears as far as the state's ideas on how to rule you is they know that a quiet storm is brewing. I know. A lot of statists know too. Almost everybody knows. There's very few that are completely ignorant to it. So let's say that they put socialism into play. Let's talk about other factors that are going to roll into this new form of slavery. In China, they are already experimenting using social crediting. Now, if you don't know what a social credit score is, let me explain. So, a social credit score is based on anything that you do in life that is not socially acceptable to your state and the followers who vote and consent for state to rule. If you spit on the sidewalk, if you jaywalk, if you use a word that is unacceptable in the eyes of the state, then they will use this social credit score to limit you in life. So, and this breaks down to examples of like, okay, well, since you spit on the sidewalk, we're going to take X amount of points, and since, you were late on your bill, you're going to lose X amount of points. They could even go as far as to say that you cannot leave to go overseas to see family you have elsewhere, or even travel just for personal enjoyment. That's exactly what the social credit score is. And I don't think it's that very far off before the United States gets it, especially when you think of how far they've went with the police state. There's cameras everywhere. They can see anything that you do, and, they've got drones and fucking, what are those things called? Drones. You got ones that you can have in your house. You got the ones that the government has. You got, drones that can fly. You got self-driving fucking cars. All these are horrible, horrible things. People look at them as a blessing, as a move forward in humanity, but they're not realizing it's not for you, all this technology. It's going to play a part in the major move or the new agenda, right? So there's your social credit score. Let's look at another thing that's become very popular, the chip. The chip. How many countries, big corporations, if you haven't seen them already, are getting people excited about it, influencing them about the idea of a chip? One thing that they'll tell you is, well, with a chip, nobody can rob you. I think that's kind of stupid. I think somebody will just take a knife and cut that fucker out, spin it wherever they want. I mean, that's what it is. But with a chip, now they can take away currency, right? They can pay you through it. They can, identify you or label you with it through AI and machines. This is the Matrix. This is the movie. This is everything, and it's not real. It's there. It's all these things are happening, and they're all going to come together as one. So, to go back to the point of socialism that Joe Rogan and this guy Andrew Yang are promoting, fucking straight fucking poison. Jesus, Rogan, I'm so disappointed in you. But I hate to keep slamming him, but this video, you got to watch it. And if you are in the truth movement, you'll see what I'm seeing right here. This is media influencing people. I'm trying to figure out whether Joe Rogan's really just this fucking stupid because he's so far indoctrinated, or he's actually in cahoots with the state at this point. You'll see the video. 1245, 1245, Joe Rogan, Andrew Yang. So let's go to, them implementing the socialism agenda, which I only think that they're doing because they're shifting gears, because people are sick of the old way of being ruled. This is just a power move to keep, people that they may be losing engaged in the religion of state, because that's what it is. It's a religion, 100%, no doubt about it, a fucking religion. And while I'm on that point, we'll get to that at the end. So, you implement socialism. Everybody is on, an equal plane. You are all going to get X amount of dollars, regardless of how bad your life will get. Now, if they're saying that AI is going to take all the jobs, wouldn't that actually limit the jobs that people will be able to do? Now, you're in a socialism environment now. You voted for it. You consented to it. You allowed the state to do it. So it's there. You're stuck in it. You're fucked. It's a religion that you cannot opt out of at this point. You're only going to work certain jobs. Now, if they can go as far as to create a system of socialism that can limit the monies that a person can make, and, limit the kinds of jobs people are able to work, that in itself is more control than what we have right now. And I just want anybody that thinks that I'm wrong to tell me I'm not. So this socialism thing, it's not something that's just happening here. It's happening all over the place. It's happening all around you. It's become a big, big push. Cortez, Bernie, this motherfucker, Andrew Yang, it's becoming a thing. I'm even seeing a lot of people thinking that this is the next move that we should make in humanity to progress. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. The only way we're going to progress is by abolishing the state, because the state's never going to use these things for you. Because here's where it's going to go. And you've already seen this with the state or government that rules us now, right? It's all for bad. It all keeps going to get worse. So you take socialism, you put everybody on the same plan, you limit their fucking jobs, and it's all powered by AI. AI. What is to stop them at this point than abolishing currency altogether and forcing you to get the chip? Does anybody here actually want that fucking chip? Seriously? Think about that for a second. You got a chip. That is your way of payment. It's controlled by computers. That's controlled by the state. You have no control at this point. None. Now you take in the other part that is even scarier. They implement the social credit system. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. What has the state always done? These have always been moves, and these aren't just random things happening here and there. This is your state, the banksters, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, all implementing the one world order. Total fucking slavery through AI and control. You think it's bad now with the police state. Think about all those fucking cameras and everything else that they've been installing, used with the AI, controlling the system of currency and the way that we live. Now, some people will say, oh, it's not going to go that far. It's not going to be that crazy. But once it's actually implemented, they can force you to take that chip, because socialism is now how you're living. And AI is controlling it, and it's limited your jobs, and you're scared of losing your material shit. They're going to use violence, but not violence to some people. They can basically just cast you out of the system that everybody's using coercion through the state to implement. They'll starve you out and force you to take that chip, because it'll be the only way that you can survive. unless you are, basically like the rebels in Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd is a really good movie where it shows a lot of these ideals too. So another one that you might want to look at on top of the video to see where I'm going with this. So you have AI, you have socialism, you have the chip. Now let's bring in the social credit system. And they will. They will. 100%. I don't doubt it at all. Not at all. So now you bring in the social credit system. This will be a way to force you to do what they want through a credit system that can actually hurt you in a lot of ways that I've already told you before, right? You won't be able to do this. You won't be able to do that. And if you do, and it's not socially acceptable, they can actually now punish you by starving you. You don't think that they will? You spit on the ground, they take away so many points, and you don't get to go on vacation to see your dying grandma. It's crazy. But it's definitely something that can be done. Now, when I say all the time, voting is consent, I've heard a lot of arguments, even in the anarchist and voluntarist community, and I claim to no label at all. I identify myself as Jay. It's not my real name, but that's what everybody calls me, so fuck it, just call me Jay. I don't call myself an anarchist. I don't call myself a voluntarist. I don't do any of those things. I have chosen to take information from here, there, Satanism, occultism. I mean, why not? To form the perfect mind, you must understand everything. That's where I am in life. And that's what I'm preaching. So no, I don't claim to any labels, so you can't, use the pack mentality to put me in this group or that. I'm just speaking the truth. You vote for state as a defense. Well, that was a pretty good defense for, closet statists hiding out in anarchy communities and voluntarist communities for a long time. But let's say, for instance, you are voting to lower your taxes. You have to pick a person in order to do that for you through this system of the state. Now, that person may be preaching about lower taxes, but they also have a lot of other things for their party's agenda that they're going to have to do as well. Let's say they lower your taxes, and now they also want to, use gun confiscation. That is a big push too, and for obvious reasons. Why do you think they want to take away the guns? And they're using scare tactics to make people believe that this is a good idea. Bad idea. Because we have a runaway government. And the Second Amendment was put there because they knew that any government which the people who it rules fell asleep on could easily take off and turn into total tyranny, which is basically what we have right now. If you think you're fucking free, you're not. So you vote to lower taxes as a defense, but you consented, empowered this person because it is a religion to rule everybody. Now this person starts to confiscate guns and promote violence to other people in other ways other than taxes. Haven't you actually enabled aggression, violence, through your consent on other people? Yes, you absolutely have, 100%. You had good intent in voting for them as a defense, but you've actually enabled them to become an aggressor on others. And that's why voting is bad. And no matter how you vote, you got to realize at some point, Jesus, man, and it's so exhausting, so tiring to tell everybody, they're both together in the big club. They're puppets for the banksters, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, to push this agenda. So if they create socialism, and it looks like that's where everybody's getting confused about it doing for you, then at that point, AI is going to control everything, and AI is a big push, and they're going to use it, and they're already practicing, they're already building things, they have things. So they do AI, they scare the shit out of everybody, they limit the jobs, they chip your ass through violence, aggression, and the nail in the coffin, the social credit score, with cameras and Alexa in your living room and cameras on your phones and everything else. And I know I sound like a conspiracist, but if you got any kind of mind at all, you realize all the tools are there to do it. So what do? Well, you've got to bring this conversation to the most uncomfortable places, to people that you might be scared to lose or hate you. But that's the reason that the indoctrination has worked so well. They took your ass for 12 years, pumped you full of bullshit, and that probably could have been defeated if you hadn't had family members and friends and everybody else who've been fully indoctrinated, flag worshippers, manipulated by ideals that were given to you by the state, and falsely reinforced for you at home because they were under the same impression. Not their own faults, but under the same impression. So everything around you tells you that this is the way to live. People tell me, well, if everybody stopped voting, then there's a law in the Constitution that says that they'll go ahead and rule. Well, with that being said, how fucking free are you? And what the fuck does your vote matter anyway? An election could easily be rigged. There's proof all over the place. There's actually been live video footage of courts questioning people on how easy a program would be to put in there to, make the vote go this way or that. You got to take this conversation out there. You got to bring it everywhere. You've got to start creating truth like they created indoctrination. The reason that people don't believe it and call it a conspiracy is because they're only hearing it from, a couple people. And the people that are, holding themselves up on a pedestal and not saying anything are just as wrong as the people who are voting to consent the state. They don't realize that this military that they fear of, implementing the state's religion only exists because they're indoctrinated too. They're voters, they're people. If the message was everywhere, if just one person would take it to 2 or 3 people in their local area, and then that would spread, and it would just become this common, knowledge for everybody that's not occulted anymore, then who will be left to enforce the violence of the state? People aren't thinking that, the military is made of human beings too. And they have families, and they have friends. You have to realize that this is a religion. And it's only powered because people believe in it. If everybody stopped believing it, everybody, even a portion of the military, and we have social media to put it out everywhere, then how could they possibly enforce their rule with a small group of people in comparison to this massive group of people that they're ruling? It's about taking that message out there. It's about not being lazy. It's about giving up the material shit that, most people cling to, and I'm so happy at this point that I could actually say that I did that. And it wasn't out of, sheer courage, and I hate that I didn't learn sooner. It's because I was beaten down by the state into understanding what it actually was. and then surrounded by really, really good people who help me straighten everything out in my mind. Take the message to the most uncomfortable situations. Start having this conversation at the dinner table. Because it's for everybody. It's for everybody. And stop giving me this bullshit that if somebody didn't tell you what to do all the time, you wouldn't know how to do anything at all. People are still going to know how to grow plants. They're still going to know how to build houses. They're just going to be able to do it without consent.